Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Spice. Today we are at the next topic, the theoretical Rook Endgames, and we are at a very important position. We have got a case of knight pawn here. In the previous theoretical endgame, we had discussed a very similar position where the pawn was on the e file. Initially, I had thought of omitting this position, but I thought that there is some relation between this position and the previous one. It's a black to play position and black is trying to hold the game. Black has two options. As we discussed before, there are two kinds of possibilities in a Philidor like drawn situations. One, black can go with the move rook g1, rook comes behind the pawn, and second, the rook can come to a1 and then try to harass the king which is on the 6th rank. Let us discuss both the methods and try to understand how things change because the pawn is on the g file. So rook g1 first, white of course goes rook a6. Rook is ready to attack from the last rank and force the black king away. Now black has to play the move king f8, which is almost forced. If king goes to h8, then rook a8 mates, and if rook comes to f1, then the king and pawn endgame after rook a8, rook f8, rook takes f8, king takes f8, king h7, and the pawn forcibly promotes to queen. Black plays the move king f8 here, and now white uses the technique rook a8 check, ke7. Generally what we see, the king is unable to move because kg7 just allows black to take the g pawn, and king h6 can allow black to just go king f7 again, and the g pawn's advance is stopped. But here white has the strong move rook g8. When we discuss this same position, and if we shift the white pieces to the e file and the black king to c7, we saw that in the same situation black had the move rook h1 and he was able to attack from the other side. But now what has happened? The g pawn has divided the board into two very different parts. Means one side is too long and the other side is not allowing the black rook access to give checks from the side. Thus this position now becomes losing for black. Let's see how. White is threatening king h7 and then he will push his g pawn, put his king on g7 and then move the rook away to 8 and transfer the rook from behind and reach the Lucena position. Black waits with the move rook g2. If rook h1, then just kg7 followed by g6 follows. After rook g2, king h7, black tries kf7, but now g6 check, ke7, and rook just moves to a8. One small point, if instant g7, then the rook would have started giving checks. But now there is nothing much. Rook h2 check, king goes to g8, and after rook g2, pawn moves to g7, and we see that by force white will be able to get into the Lucena position. For instance, rook d2, then rook a1, and now rook d8 check and the king hides behind the pawn. So rook d8 check, kh7 and white wins. After king f7, rook f1 check, ke7 and g8 wins. Thus black will have to look for other way to hold the game. Black goes for the move rook a1, and now after the move rook b6, as we have discussed before, against the g pawn the passive defense works very well. Now rook will just keep on moving on the c8, d8 or a8 square, whichever is available to the rook, and whatever white does, there is no progress that he can make. After let's say kh6, rook c8, g6, rook a8, rook b7, rook c8, rook g7, just king h8, and white is unable to make any progress. You can check out my lessons based on the Philidor position gone bad. There I have discussed this in more detail. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.